In the previous chapter, we saw Yan Mo returning to his group after a mysterious disappearance. He revealed a shocking truth. An old drunkard, a legendary figure from 800 years ago, had resurfaced. His warning was clear. They must avoid provoking this man at all costs, as his return could bring unimaginable bloodshed. Elder Qing Ya, shaken by the revelation, pondered over the drunkard's true identity. Let's begin the chapter. "We're here, the Double Dragon Manor." Elder Yun's shout echoed, and the mystical heaven sect group grew lively, itching to get inside. The demon scheming sect, however, turned a blind eye to their excitement, even mocking them. Fiend Yang sneered, "This is the thanks we get tucking you in from danger all the way here? Nothing but a bunch of ungrateful swine." Chu Ching Chung approached Zhuo Fan, her voice soft. "We will now part ways." Zhuo Fan, avoiding her eyes, stated flatly, "Once inside, we are enemies." A sad smile touched Chu Ching Chung's lips as she nodded. "I may sound overconfident when I say this, but I won't hold back." "Nor I," Zhuo Fan replied, his voice devoid of emotion. Chu Ching Cheng then walked past him, avoiding his gaze, perhaps in fear of never leaving. Zhuo Fan remained unfazed, not a trace of emotion on his face. Shui Rohua led the disciples to Zhuo Fan, her voice filled with gratitude. "We are grateful for you looking after us on our way here, young Master Zhuo. I'll never forget your kindness." "It's fine. We were going the same way anyway." Zhuo Fan waved her off dismissively, his voice harsh, yet Shui Rohua smiled, thinking, "He sounds harsh, but doesn't mean it." Danner giggled, her eyes sparkling. "Young Master Zhuo, will you let us off? In the Double Dragon Gathering?" Zhuo Fan snickered, a knowing glint in his eyes. "Ha ha ha. What do you think?" Danner stuck out her tongue, flustered. "Don't smile or I'll really run out of luck. Everyone knows your smile means you're about to jump them. I don't want to live through that fear." Everyone laughed. Mystical heaven sect and demon scheming sect alike. Shui Rohua then led the girls away to follow their own group. Fiend Yang shook his head. "They're not half bad. At least they know to say thanks, unlike the old coots." Kui Lang sighed. "Mystical heaven sect is such a phony sect. But the women? Zhuo Fan eyed them with a cold gaze, his voice sharp. "Step. Lively, boys, full speed ahead for Double Dragon Manor. Once you get there, you can move again." "Yes!" they cheered, pushing forward the last trek with small, quick steps. After 3 months of hard work, they finally resembled normal people, their bodies stronger, their minds sharper. Their cultivation, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan thought with a hint of sinister glee. They soon passed the weary door and arrived before a hall where 2 elders sat cross-legged. The 2 opened their eyes and demanded, "Who comes? State your name." Fiend Yang replied respectfully, "One of Tianyu's 3 guardian sects, demon scheming sect, has come to participate in the Dual Dragon Gathering. I ask that the elders let us through." The 2 nodded, their eyes scanning. Demon scheming. Sects 2 4th-layer ethereal stage cultivators, 1 in the 5th layer, 3 in the 2nd layer radiant stage, 1 in the 3rd layer, 2 in the 5th layer, 2 in the 8th layer, and 2 in the 9th. You may pass. These 2 people actually can sense the cultivation of all of us. Zhuo Fan gasped internally, astonished. The 2 held their palms together, releasing a powerful soul strength. Then they pushed behind them at the door, veins popping on their scrawny arms. The thick spiritual energy from within hit the group hard, even from just a crack, leaving them stunned. The Double Dragon Manor was behind a barrier. Zhuo Fan bowed in gratitude at the 2 elders and took his group inside. As Fiend Yang was about to go, one of the elders stopped him. "Did your disciples take the zombie pill?" Fiend Yang was stunned. How did you know? The elder's brow furrowed. Demon scheming sect must have put it all it had in this gathering. Using the zombie pill is wondrous but costly. Not even the superior 3 sects would take such a price lightly. Fiend Yang played it cool, acting like Zhuo Fan. Isn't it just a 7th grade pill? The old man chuckled. 7th? Then you're not the one to have used this method on them. If you want to poison someone, using 7th grade pills is more than enough. But to increase the cultivation of disciples, you need the antidote too. That one's 10th grade. Fiend Yang was stunned, then scoffed. So what? We have a money bag. He strutted in, leaving the two dumbfounded. One said, in amazement, Demon. Scheming sect must have struck gold. To use pills even superior 3 sects would hate to. I wonder who has their back, and if they've found another sacred mine. Ha ha ha, don't speak nonsense. Why would they be coming here if they did? The other sneered. They stood up and walked in as well. The sects are here, and we should go in as well. The gate slowly closed behind them, and in that moment of neglect, they missed a ragged person slipping right in. Scratching his red nose, the man took a mouthful of his flask, his smile positively evil. None other than the drunkard. Demon scheming sect, I presume. Please, follow me. A polite voice sliced through their astonishment. A middle-aged man in gray robes was bowing low. Kui Gang, utterly shocked, exclaimed, It's the first time I've ever seen such a polite ethereal stage expert. Koi Lang, equally bewildered, added, An ethereal stage expert is actually welcoming us in person. Ha ha, it's nothing at all, the man chuckled, giving another bow. I am but a humble usher. You're all honored guests we must attend to. This way, please. Fiend Yang scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. You look like you've never been. Outside your house. This is Double Dragon Manor. Everything is done by its rules. Here, ethereal stage experts are the weakest. If not them welcoming us, who then? The 2 leaders? Zhuo Fan muttered thoughtfully. In other words, Double Dragon Manor only sees potential, not the current level of cultivation. Fiend Yang nodded. Smart, Zhuo Fan. Yes. They look at potential, the ones they can raise, and how far. These experts of the Double Dragon Gathering, if they were outside, they would have only reached bone tempering or profound heaven stage. Why else would they hold the Double Dragon Gathering if not for seeking raw talent? So don't underestimate yourselves. Once you're in this place, this improvement speed shall be yours. Zhuo Fan snickered, a hint of amusement in his eyes. Fiend Yang, you think it's wise to poke your host where it hurts in front of them? He chuckled, gesturing towards their usher. Ugh, Fiend Yang mumbled. I don't think he heard me. They approached a courtyard, and the usher, smiling warmly, said, This shall be your accommodations, 15 rooms in total. Please, take a rest. The Double Dragon Gathering is about to begin, and be aware. Double Dragon Manor forbids grudge fights. The consequences of such a fight are dire. Fiend Yang, noticing the usher's smile, whispered to Zhuo Fan, his voice barely audible. He didn't say anything. I guess he didn't hear me. The group entered, smiles playing on their faces, and then the usher spoke to Fiend Yang, who was the last to enter. Sir, I'd have to correct you on one thing. The resources given are fixed, with cultivation reaching a point where no amount of resources can help. I reckon you are a venerable in your sect, yes? You must have wasted your fair share of resources, too. But coming to Double Dragon Manor isn't always a boon. This is called potential saturation. Having reached your full potential, any more resources will only fatten you up a bit. Fiend Yang's face twisted in rage. He saw the usher's smile, a cold glint in his eyes, and his face fell. Who are you calling a fat pig? Come here! Say it again if you dare! Zhuo Fan calmly told the disciples, Okay, choose your rooms first. I'll cure you after to get you ready for the Double Dragon Gathering in a couple of days. They had been stiff for 6 long months, and the promise of relief was overwhelming. Some even had tears of relief in their eyes, shouting in unison, "Hooray! Finally, we've been detoxified! We've finally survived!" Who the hell is hollering? There? You threw off my master's hiking mood. A bulky man and an old, frail figure swaggered into the courtyard. Seeing the demon-scheming sect sizing up their home, the bulky man mocked, "Your demon-scheming sect? Ha ha ha." "What of it?" Zhuo Fan asked, raising an eyebrow. "Who's the leader?" "That's me," Zhuo Fan admitted. The man sized him up, cracking into laughter. "The leader is a third-layer radiant stage cultivator, and the rest are cripples. Is the demon-scheming sect so strapped for talents they sent you fools? I knew it, the only ones we need to look after is mystical heaven sect, ha ha ha." Zhuo Fan thought, bewildered. Where did these two idiots come from? The demon-scheming sect stared at the pair as if they were morons. "Hey, boy, do you know why your sect leader sent you here?" the tough guy said, then patted Zhuo Fan's chest in mocking. "That's because yours truly wiped the floor with your elites and had no one to send but you. You have me to thank for getting out of the sect to see the world. Me, Hui Xiong from the beast-taming sect." Zhuo Fan thought, a cold glint in his eyes. Beast-taming sect? Ha ha, si wu yue. So that's what you mean. "Though all you're good for is gawking," Hui Xiong continued, "then go back home if you want to keep your lives." "Oh, so you're expecting?" "Thanks for kicking our home and punching the daylights out of the elites. That's why we got to go to the Double Dragon Gathering, is that it?" Zhuo Fan asked with a sneer. Ignoring or oblivious to the condescending tone, Hui Xiong puffed out, his chest further, nodding with absolute certainty. "I don't much care for your thanks, only urge you to give up when you get on stage. Don't think for a second I'll go easy on some cripples. Your bro here is a man of principle." Zhuo Fan, completely dumbfounded, just stared for a moment before saying, "Well, those two idiots are gone, let's get back to business." The rest of the group laughed. Then, Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed azure, and purple lightning flickered across his body as the red glow on his right arm faded away in a heartbeat. It was a split second, yet long enough to send shivers down the spines of the group. "What's wrong?" Fiend Yang asked, concerned. Zhuo Fan, also perplexed, shook his head. "I don't know. I just felt my heart skip a beat. Strange, just, what was it?" In a serene courtyard nearby, a handsome young man called out, "Junior brother, what are you doing?" I don't know, I just had a feeling. My enemy is here." A man in his 20s wearing fine gray clothes replied as he stretched. "How is it? Are you all right?" Fiend asked, worry etched on his face, while the others watched, nervously. Zhuo Fan clutched at his chest, then, muttering to himself before easing a breath, he said, "It's nothing, just a feeling. This Double Dragon Gathering, it won't go easy on us." Fiend Yang chuckled, patting his shoulder. "Double Dragon Gathering has the greatest powers in the Western lands. It'd be strange if it were easy. No one, not even the superior 3 sects, would boast they will reach their goal. I am thankful for how much you care for the sect, but don't beat yourself over it. You yourself said it, to be a superior 3 sect. We didn't even ask you to take us to the top, so why worry? Ha ha ha." Kuei Lang thought. "You're beating Steward Zhuo over it." Zhuo Fan's mouth twitched and he sighed. "Superior 3 sect it is. Nothing to it. Blame my loose mouth. Ha ha ha, don't say that. It's good for young people to have big dreams." Fiend Yang beamed. Zhuo Fan's smile was bitter, yet his eyes remained firm. "Does that mean I'll meet my match?" Knock. An usher bowed, smiling. "People of the demon-scheming sect, I ask that your honored elders and venerables come to the heaven-reaching pavilion to discuss the Double Dragon Gathering." "We're the ones. Please lead the way, brother." Fiend Yang bowed. He'd had enough of getting on one caddy's bad side. Zhuo Fan turned to his people, face hard, voice calm. "Right, let's get this done. Pick a room, then eat this, and Then, meditate for a breakthrough. He threw each of them a vial. Kuigang perked up. Heaven-reaching pill? It can heal meridians and renew life, but it's also a zombie pill's antidote. Taking this will transform your bodies. Haven't we taken it already? You said it only works once, Tia Ying asked. Zhuo Fan nodded. Its effect will only work once, but that doesn't equal removing the poison. Your progress from removing it will have a lesser effect than when you took this pill the first time. Tai Ying questioned excitedly, "Does that mean it will be more effective without being an antidote?" Kui Gang, face falling, moaned, "Sigh, it's a pity that I took it too early." Zhuo Fan thought, if you didn't take it the first time, you wouldn't be alive to take it the second time, and said to all, "That's it, go back to your room." He thought, people never know what is enough. Knock. The gentle rapping on the door sounded just like before. Zhuo Fan spoke. "The venerables have left for heaven-reaching pavilion." "What is the—" two girls shouted. "Zhuo Fan!" "Schwanger, Yongning, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you're joining the Double Dragon gathering, too." The two gave dry laughs. Yongning started, "We're not you, some fighting junkie. We only came to watch." Zhuo Fan asked, "Watch?" Schwanger nodded. The Double Dragon gathering decides the positions of the 9 sects, their resources, and their territory. Each nation sends a delegation to understand changes that might affect their future, taking the Demon Scheming sect. As an example, if you become a Middle 3 sect, you will be offered a much greater territory and resources, even having a whole empire under it. Zhuo Fan's eyes shook. He thought, that's why the Demon Scheming sect's higher-ups stress so much about this tournament. They would pay anything if it means getting amazing rewards and more resources. Zhuo Fan was pensive. You're telling me a Middle 3 sect has an empire all to itself? While a Lower 3 sect can only get a third, like Tianyu's 3 guardian sects? Yes and no. What matters here is the resource allocation. Look at the Beast Taming sect. They are a Lower 3 sect, but since they are from the Quanrong Empire, with little resources harvested there, you can say they have a sole empire under them. Tianyu, bordering the Quanrong Empire, is rich in resources, so much so that it has 2 Lower 3 sects and a Middle 3 sect sharing its hall. As for the Superior 3 sects, they each have a large empire with 10s more resources than us. That's why the late emperor made a deal with Quanrong in secret. By ceding land, he affected the sect's gains and ultimately their future. Any accord between nations is for them to settle. The sects can't interfere. This is a rule of Double Dragon Manor, all to prevent the Western lands from plunging into chaos, Yongning said, a sadness in her voice. Recalling the old wound, Yongning looked dispirited. Zhuo Fan was reminded of Xie Wuyue's words, and he now understood the true leader of Western lands. It's all Double Dragon Manor's tactic to keep Western lands' strength up, he thought. Each is a cog in Western lands' machine to ramp up power. By controlling the 9 sects, Double Dragon Manor controlled Western lands. It's all so simple yet much more far-reaching than it seems, with incredible results. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. A snort reached their ears, interrupting the friendly talk, just like an animal pen rearing them for slaughter. Who does Double Dragon Manor think it is? Zhuo Fan stared, seeing a very familiar man at the table, an unkempt man with a red nose gulping down from his flask, none other than the drunkard. "Senior, are you from Double Dragon Manor?" Zhuo Fan probed. The drunkard sneered. "Double Dragon Manor, ha ha ha. I was, but now, not anymore."